Tina Benson, my company, Stack Canine Training. I'm a dog trainer in Collegeville, PA, and the question of the day comes from Adam regarding his 15-week-old Beagle Bulldog mix, a Beabull, named Lucy. And so I'm going to read this. So Lucy has some biting and teething issues. She's kind of been going through some things that they're working out. But she loves being petted and getting attention. It's just when she's picked up, she turns a bit cranky. Is this a case that most puppies go through, the unsettled growling and nipping when held? Currently, we make sure we continue to hold her, even if she is growling, and wait until she stops to put her back down on our terms. We try to hold her as much as possible when she's not in her playpen, that's a red flag, or out walking just to get her used to it. And so Adam said he's going to try and get a video of this. His forms of correction have been to say a loud no. And if that doesn't work, then he'll hold the dog out until she calms down. So holding the dog out like this, okay? And then he said, I've heard bulldogs tend to be a bit more hyper and mouthy when they're puppies and lose it as they age. Is this true? So first and foremost, there are a couple of things. You holding her as much as possible is a red flag. You should be training her as much as possible, not holding her as much as possible. Training her, I understand you want to pick her up and try and desensitize her to being, petted and things like that, or to get her through this growling stage. That's not going to work unless you correct her. Saying no without a follow-up correction, like I mentioned to you in email, a bonk. So this is your dog. No, bonk her on the head, squarely on the head. You're not going to hurt her. So you can do it with that, or with her, I would actually have her dragging around a lightweight leash. And that way you can give her a little pop. So collar around her neck, like a martingale collar, and a leash attached to that, so that if she does do that, you can just give a little pop to the collar and pair that with no. That's also called, that's a correction. A bonk is a correction. You can poke her in the chest. So if this is her growling, this is her chest, you give her like a finger poke, a firm finger poke to the chest, like no, like that. Or in her flanks, on her side where there's that fleshy part of skin, you give like a poke to that flank and you say no. It's a correction, right? So until you do something that gets her attention and that resonates with her, she's not going to stop growling. And so this is like, so hey guys, knock it off. So this is you said she loves being pet and loves attention. Well, okay, but it's only on her terms, because when you go to pick her up, she starts growling at you and giving you attitude. So that's only on her terms that she loves this attention. So I would stop with the attention. I know that sounds like crazy. You've got this puppy and everybody loves their puppies, but too much affection can spoil a dog rotten. Instead, and I wouldn't do, playpens are fine, but I would start teaching her place immediately, which the place command, you can find it on my website, is basically you get a pet cot. It's an elevated cot, and you are basically teaching your dog place, and you're teaching her to stay on place. It's developing a calm on command. You're teaching her to be calm on command, and believe me, every 15-week-old puppy should be able to do it. I've got a 16-week-old puppy. See her, she's in the crate right there, and she's doing place right now for, I have her up to, she'll do place for hours, just hanging out with my family and I. I'll put her on a pet cot. I'll show you what a pet cot looks like. So come on along with me. Here we go. Here's a pet cot. So Chase is right next to the pet cot. But basically, you teach her to get on the place, and you have to teach her to stay there, right? So this requires a leash and a collar. Go to my video on that. It's called the place command, but it's a really important command because it starts to teach your dog to develop some impulse control and to be calm. What you're getting right now, because I know you said you had her checked out from the vet and there are no health issues, so it's not a concern that she's being hurt when you pick her up. This is all attitudinal then. As long as she's got a clean bill of health and there's nothing else going on, you're picking her up, she doesn't like it, she's letting you know, she's growling at you. And you know what comes next is, you know, it's just like, it's a state of mind thing. We don't want our 15-month-old puppies growling at us. Like, you want to raise her to be this, you know, a dog who's accepting of being picked up, because that's part of, you know, sometimes you need to pick up your dog. But then the other thing that I want to talk to you about is, at 15 weeks old, are you picking her up to cuddle her a lot? Are you doing this a lot just because you want to, or you're trying to decondition her to, you know, you want her to be comfortable with being pet? Because if it's an issue like that, if she's not comfortable being handled in some way or other, again, that's a training thing. You can use her kibble for handling, and I would take it more from a training standpoint of handling her. I would off the table with the affection and the, you know, things that are just like couch time, lap time. That doesn't serve her at all. But what does serve her is if you start to do handling exercises where you have her up on a table or on a pet cot like I showed you, and you start to handle her like a groomer or a vet would, and you use her daily kibble. And this is teaching her to be handled, like handle her paws. I have videos on my YouTube channel where, you know, I show you how to handle your dog. You should be able to pet your, you know, handle your dog's paws where you're pressing the paw pads and, you know, the nails are coming out and you can touch the nails. You should be able to take clippers and touch them to the nail and clip the nails. Handle your dog everywhere. You want to palpate the soft areas of the body, you know, just because you're feeling, you always want to be feeling for lumps and bumps and things like that. You want to inspect the ears and open the mouth, or do you see anything unusual? You want to get her used to handling that way. Sometimes you can use food for that. If your dog loves her food, it might get her too excited. So a lot of times what I'll do with dogs who are too excited with food and handling, but they're really bad at being handled, it's just matter of fact, it's energy. You come in with very matter of fact energy. It's time for you to be handled. We're going to go through this exercise every day if you want to do that, or every other day. And then you just start handling your dog. And when she's good about it, you say yes or good. And when she starts getting a little bit fussy, or if she starts to growl, you say no. And if that doesn't, if she persists with that, or if she growls or anything like that, you're going to bonk her. But check out my videos on that, because I've posted a bunch of stuff on that, I think. And if not, I can absolutely, I'll do a video with the puppy that I'm training right now, because she's Lucy's age. She's 1 week older. And I'll show you, this dog doesn't like to be handled either. And I will show you how you work through that. Because, you know, this is a life skill, being handled. So if your vet's working on her, is she going to growl when the vet goes to, you know, handle her? These are things we don't want. So just to reiterate, cut back on the affection, go heavy on the training, make that be your interaction with your puppy. And if you're picking her up to, you know, handle her, that's you know, something that I would stop right away. And also, are you, sometimes I'll see this where we tend to help our puppies, like get them up on things, like because we feel like they can't. Maybe that's something you can use food and like have her get up on things. And I don't know if that's the case, but it just comes to mind with the dog that I'm training here. She can't get into cars and things, but she can counter surf. And I find that interesting. So I started using her food and teaching her to get in and out of the car, because now I realize with your dog, the stature might be a little different, but just something to think about. Teach your dog the place command. Make sure she's able to be handled. Get a video and send it to me about, you know, when you're picking her up and she's growling. I want to see that. And just remember, corrections are the only thing that stops the nonsense. A firm no is not going to work. And one more thing about corrections, it depends on your dog. So some dogs, we call them soft, because it'll just, you could make a dog stop with a firm no, like no. And some dogs will just be like, I'll never do that again, right? But Some dogs, and yours is, part bulldog, they're very stubborn. So you do need to keep that in mind, and you're gonna have to go firm. You have to go firmer than you probably want to. But just know you're not gonna hurt your dog if you bonk her really firmly on the head. It's not gonna hurt her. And you might need to go firmer than what I just demonstrated. Only you will know that. And you'll know that you did it at the right intensity when your dog stops growling, and then you don't get that behavior again. The trick with corrections and to stop unwanted behavior is to do it at a level that makes your dog understand, oh, I can't do that anymore, because it's uncomfortable. When I do it, I get bonked, and I don't like that. Dogs hate being bonked, but it stops the behavior. I just have to show my guys this, and the behavior stops. So I hope that's helpful. Go check out my other videos on place, and then send me that video once you get it. All right, guys, have a good one.